IRR is 7.57. It is less than the required rate of return or cost of capital. Again, red light, right? No, because the IRR is 757. It is not any, calculating the IRR is not any more difficult than NPV. If you enter the cost of capital, you also see the decision right here in terms of the traffic light. Okay, I don't want that. Okay, another payback period question. Let me copy it and paste it here. In the quiz, if you get an AAR question, either randomly, click some of it or leave it blank. I'll give you full points manually. Oof. Let me see if somebody else wants to answer. Anybody from back there? You want to answer one? Huh? 7.9. Again, it's not that complicated. How much does it cost? 575. I'm getting rid of zeros. And the first 3 years are zeros. After that, 73, 112, 124, 136, 145. Let me get it correctly. This is what happens when you age. 10 years ago, I would have kept all those 6 numbers in my head and entered it. Now I can do it only 3 at a time. And project turns positive in year 8. Done. It's 7.9. You just read it off. Okay. Okay, we have two more. Come on, these things. That's another payback, so I'm not going to do it. You guys know what to do. It's Blackboard is very bad at randomizing stuff. I mean, Excel is also pretty bad in random numbers. If you're going to ever do something like a Monte Carlo simulation, which is basically simulating random paths for something, don't ever do it with Excel if there's money riding on it. If you're doing it just to see things, do it. It repeats itself very quickly. No, I mean I've always known Excel's random number generator was bad. I mean there are a lot of statistical software that has very good random number generators. So when I'm doing anything for serious, for research or for something like that, I never use Excel. It's easy to use, but you don't want to make errors, especially if, for example, there are financial instruments called Asian options, where the payoff depends upon the average price during the life of the option less an exercise price. The only way, it's not the only way, but the most effective way to price those options is to use what we call Monte Carlo simulation. And if you're actually trading those things in the market, I would never ever use Excel. A, it's too slow. So if you want real-time valuation as the underlying price has changed, because for those things to be really fast, really precise, you need at least 100,000 different simulations. Well, doing 100,000 simulations in Excel takes a while. But if it's you can do it in a lot of things. You can do it in R, for example, or you could write your own code in what's that thing that starts with P, Python, or there's specialized stat software. Either way, it's very fast. I mean, back in 2003, I used to do 200,000 simulations for Asian options, and on average, it took 0.1 seconds. That's in 2003. In 2003, Excel had only 64,000 lines. Now it has 1 million plus. All right, let's give a pause here and let's get back here at 7:25. All right, guys. Let's start talking about chapter 9. Project cash flows. Now, in chapter 8, we were interested in making decisions. Somebody told us what the cash flows were. Somebody told us what the discount rate was. And based on those, we made decisions. Okay. But those cash flows and discount rate come from somewhere. In this chapter, chapter 9, we're going to figure out how to calculate those cash flows. And in chapters pretty much 11 and 12, we're going to skip chapter 10. I mean, you can read it, but we're going to skip it. We're going to figure out how to come up with that discount rate. Project cash flows. There are two main principles. One of them is the standalone principle, which means treat the project separate from the firm. And the second is we're going to consider only incremental cash flows. This means cash flows of the project are calculated by comparing what happens to the firm with the cash flow with the project versus without the project. So what is this project adding to the firm? In a lot of cases, we don't have to worry about that, but there are certain situations we need to think about. If we accept this project, what changes in the firm? Now, first of all, we need to figure out what are relevant cash flows. The kind of cash flows that we're going to take into account. First, obviously, things like sales, cost of production, project cost are all relevant. Why? Because if we accept the project, the sales of the firm is going to go up, cost of production is going to go up, capital costs are going to go up, and so on and so forth. That's the easy part. Second, we're going to think about sunk costs. Who's going to tell me what a sunk cost is? You should have heard something like this in your econ classes. Money that's already gone, okay? Costs that have already been paid and would not be recovered whether or not the project is accepted. An example, you are considering a new product, and before making a decision, you hired a marketing research company